All right, let's dive in. Something massive is happening right now in how we find things online. And I mean, this is a change as big as the invention of Google itself. We are fundamentally shifting from the act of finding information to the act of getting answers. And trust me, it's about to change pretty much everything.
I love this quote because it just nails it. This isn't about some small tweak or a hot new app. We are talking about a seismic shift, a complete change in the rules of how businesses connect with you, and how you, in turn, discover pretty much anything.
So this is the roadmap for what we're going to cover. We're going to look at these three distinct eras. We'll start with the search era, where you had to do all the heavy lifting. Then we'll get into the social era, where algorithms tried to figure you out. And finally, we'll land on where we are now, the conversational era, where AI is starting to do the thinking for you.
Now, every time one of these shifts happens, it creates a wave of huge winners and, well, huge losers. Just think about it, right? Google comes on the scene around 2000 and just dominates. Then Facebook shows up around 2006 and does the exact same thing for social. The companies have figured out the new physics of the internet. They won the decade. And this new shift, it's going to be no different.
Okay, so let's go back to that first era, the one we all know so well, Google search. This was revolutionary because, for the first time ever, a company could actually measure our intent. They knew what we wanted right at the moment we wanted it. When you typed in emergency plumber, that wasn't just casual browsing. No, that was a crystal clear signal that you were ready to buy.
But here's the problem with search, the big limitation: cognitive load. It's basically a fancy term for all the brainpower you have to use to get something done. See, Google would give you all the ingredients, a bunch of links, articles, maybe some reviews, but you had to be the chef. You were the one who had to compare everything, weigh the pros and cons, and actually piece together the answer yourself.
And that's the core of it, right? You'd get that list of 10 blue links, and that's when your job actually started. The entire burden of putting it all together, of synthesis, was completely on your shoulders.
So that brings us to the next big evolution, the social era. Companies like Facebook looked at all that work you were doing and thought, hey, what if we just bring the product straight to the person? Instead of you having to go out and search for a new pair of shoes, the shoes would find you.
And just like that, the whole model got flipped on its head. The platforms would watch your behavior, guess what you were into, and then pop an ad right into your feed. The cognitive load was way lower, sure, but it came with a new price. Constant, and I mean constant, interruption.
When you see them side by side like this, the trade-off becomes super clear. In the search era, your intent was obvious. I need a plumber. But you had to be an active hunter. In the social era, you became a passive discoverer, just scrolling along while ads that were basically educated guesses kept interrupting your experience.
And that, finally, brings us to today, to right now. And I want to be clear, this is not just a slightly better version of search or a smarter social media. This is a totally new paradigm. Conversational AI doesn't just hand you a list of links, and it doesn't just guess what you want. It actually understands your problem and puts together a real answer for you.
Let's just walk through this roofing example, because it makes it so clear. You don't just ask one simple question, right? You have a conversation. You start kind of broad. My slate roof is leaking. Then you dig deeper, asking about tools for a DIY job. Then you voice a concern. This seems kind of dangerous. And it's only after building all that context that you finally ask for a pro. Each step builds on the last one.
This right here, this is the secret sauce. It's called the context window. Unlike a search engine that forgets what you asked 3 seconds ago, the AI remembers the entire conversation. It knows you have a slate roof. It knows you thought about doing it yourself but decided it was too risky. So the final recommendation it gives you isn't just for any roofer. It's for a roofer who can solve your very specific problem based on everything you've talked about. So look, this is the crucial point. This conversational memory isn't just some neat little trick. It fundamentally changes the quality and the relevance of the answer you get. And we've actually got the data to prove it. The best way to think about it is this. Every time you do a Google search, it's like you're talking to someone with amnesia. They have no idea what you asked them 5 minutes ago. But conversational AI, it has a memory. It builds up what we call intent density, a really deep, layered understanding of what you actually need. And that makes its final recommendation incredibly powerful.
And the numbers? Well, the numbers are pretty staggering. Microsoft's data shows that ads delivered this way, through Copilot, get a 73% higher click-through rate. And of course they do. The ad isn't some random interruption anymore. It's the solution you've been working towards this entire time.
It doesn't even stop there. The conversion rates are 16% stronger. That makes perfect sense because by the end of a good conversation, you've already talked through all your questions and concerns. You're not just clicking, you're ready to act.
And maybe the most impressive stat of all, the entire process, the whole customer journey, is a third shorter. Think about that. What used to take hours or even weeks of painful research can now be collapsed into a single, focused, 15-minute conversation.
Okay, so where is all of this headed? Well, this is where it gets really disruptive. What happens when the conversation is so good, so complete, that you never even have to leave the chat window?
Welcome to the idea of zero UI commerce. The AI doesn't just recommend the perfect pair of hiking boots, it asks for your size and shipping info and buys them for you, right there in the chat. It becomes your personal shopper, your expert consultant, and your cashier, all rolled into one. The need to click off to some other website, it might just start to fade away.
This is going to create a massive fork in the road for businesses. On one side, if your business model is selling information, like blogs or news sites that depend on people clicking links to see ads, this is an existential threat. But on the other side, if you sell an actual product or a service, this is a mind-blowing opportunity. You never really wanted website traffic anyway, right? You wanted customers. And now, the AI can deliver those qualified, ready-to-buy customers directly to your doorstep.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, for any business, it's this. The game is changing, fundamentally. It's not just about SEO keywords or getting likes anymore. The new goal, the absolute top priority, has to be structuring your information and your offerings in a way that an AI can easily understand, trust, and confidently recommend to somebody.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. As you start using these tools more and more in your own life, to find a great restaurant, to book a car repair, to buy a gift, are the businesses you know and love going to be part of the AI's answer? Or are they going to be left out of the conversation entirely?